New York, big city of dreams.
We are back. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Knick Of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And guess what, guys? It's time to talk about some Knicks topics. First and foremost, Ian Begley came out and said some news about Tom Thibodeau regarding these playoffs. Also, we're going to also talk about the playoff matchups between the Knicks and the Pistons. And of course, we're going to welcome back some old friends, all right? We're going to welcome back our guy, Ryan G in the building. Let's go. Welcome back, Ryan G.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. Glad to be back. Right in time for the playoff talk.
Yes, right in time for the playoff talk, man. My Ryan G is back, man. Listen, he was on that mid schedule. We thought he was coming back in November. He's like, oh, I can't make it. Oh, it's coming back in January. He re-injured himself. It's like, maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll have him back in the playoffs, get a couple of games in before the playoffs. And guess what? My man is back. Not sure what happens in the playoffs, though. We'll see how that goes. Just hold your breath. But he's back here today to talk Knicks basketball with us. So welcome back, man with the stats and the facts. Angie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be back. As y'all know, I was on a hiatus because I got a lot going on at the moment. Still got a lot going on, but there was a window and I was like, you know what? For this window, I'm going to come back. So I'm glad to be back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you already know everybody else who's been holding it down with us. First and foremost, it is the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, Lee Escobedo. What's going on, Lee?
My man, you know, it's great to have Ryan G back, the greatest co-host on these YouTube streets all of season. I've been saying, damn, man, that Fire Tibbs Green Goblin mask, it's been talking to me some nights. I want to put that thing back on. And today is a day that we talked about Tom Thibodeau and whether he should be back in his seat next season. And all I got to say is, it's time to talk Tibbs, baby. Let's have the conversation.
Oh, man, we got Mass, we got Mr. Potato Heads, we got everything on this show. All right. Of course, look, right on cue. And you already know our ex-D1 baller is here. Shout out to our girl, Ebony. What's going on, Ebony?
I'm on mute, of course, but what's up, y'all? Glad to have Ryan on the show. Good to have you back, for real. I was trying to hold you down with the bro picks. Now I got my bro pick partner back. Cool. But yeah, I'm just excited to talk about, you know, Tibbs. What kind of Tibbs we gonna get? Are we gonna get Tibbs or we gonna get this guy? We gonna see.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Lee Escobedo, he's been on hiatus with his Fire Tibbs type of propaganda. But Fritz will say, you know what? Hold my beer. I'll pick up where you left off. He had a conversation about firing Tibbs 2 weeks before the playoffs. And now we had to talk him off the ledge. We had to talk him off the ledge that episode. But now he's back. I know he's licking at the chops, hearing the Ian Begley news. Our guy, Mr. NBA economy himself, Fritz Alessandro. What's going on, Fritz?
Shout out to everybody. Yeah, common sense is finally taking over, and that conversation is back on the table. Every year we're gonna keep having this conversation.
Every year, meaning he's not going anywhere this year. Things that make you go. Let's get to it though. Let's get to it. I'm gonna just set it up, and I'm gonna pass the ball. All right, I'm gonna set it up. I'm on my Tyler Kolek today. All right, so let's get it. All right, so news has recently come out that Ian Begley, of all people, not Stephen Bondy, nope, not Mark Berman, Ian Begley, out of his own mouth, said on the putback that you know what, he started off the season. He said that Tibbs situation is heating up a little bit. That's not his exact words, let me get to his exact words per se. But before I even get to the exact words, when Ian started talking about Tibbs throughout the season, he was very confident that Tibbs wasn't going anywhere because of his relationship with Leon Rose. And he saw no avenue or no window or no way in hell that Tibbs would even remotely be in the hot seat this season. But a couple of games before the playoffs, he says this: I do think that there's a strong possibility, a solid possibility, that changes are coming if the Knicks flame out against Detroit, or even if they're non-competitive in the second round against the Boston Celtics. Now, this is a stark change from what he was saying before when he was like, there's no way he would be let go. So obviously, you know, the fans have kind of been frustrated with certain things that's been happening. I guess the front office might be thinking the same thing. To me, you know, the Knicks being non-competitive against OKC, Celtics, and the Cavs has probably caught up to him. And I know some of you guys was kind of upset at me the way I kind of laid into the Knicks the last post game when we played the Cavs. But I really think the Knicks losing to the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell and without who's the guy they traded for? Hunter, raised some eyebrows. Yeah. So to me, it was not acceptable. I understood losing to the Celtics all year and people were injured and coming back slowly, but to me, that was unacceptable. And I think the front office might feel the same way. So I'm going to pass the rock to you guys. And I'll start off with Ryan G, since he just got back in the building, and ask him, what do you feel about this Ian Begley news about Tom Thibodeau's seat being a little bit hotter than it was just a couple of months ago?
I mean, rightfully so, to be honest. If you asked me at the beginning of the season if I thought Thibs deserved to be in the hot seat, I would have said no, just based off the simple fact that going to last year, I felt like the only reason the Knicks lost the series to the Pacers was because of injuries. Injuries caught up to the team. They couldn't sustain it. Pacers are a deep team. And because the Pacers were more healthy, they were able to get out of that series. I still believe that last season, if the Knicks were healthy, they would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals and they would have gave the Celtics a run for their money. Now, going into this season, I do think this Knicks team is better than last year's Knicks team from a talent standpoint. I do think this team is the more talented, you know, especially the starting five. Now, going through the season, going against the best teams in the league, the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Thunder, the top three teams. Going against those teams and not being competitive in any of those games. The only game they were really competitive was the last game against the Celtics, where they should have won that game, but OG forgot to foul Tatum, and then Tatum hit the three to bring the game to overtime. The Celtics eventually won in overtime. Now, looking at all that, I'm like, okay, let's look at the Knicks teams under Thibs the last few seasons. A couple of years ago, they faced Miami in the semifinal before the Eastern Conference Finals. That Knicks team had a good chance to get to the next round, but Thibs was outcoached by Spoelstra, and of course Miami had the experience on top of that, which made Miami beat the Knicks and go to the conference finals. The year after that, like I said, injuries, Pacers, we get that. But now this season, I'm like, okay, even if the Knicks get by the Pistons and they go against the Celtics and say that they are competitive, but the Celtics still win that series, it's like, how many second round exits are you going to take until you're like, you know what, a change needs to be made? And my thing is, I think we have to be smart about it as well. Is it a coaching problem or is it a personnel problem? Because we have to remember the Knicks team last year, they had a lot of fight in them. They were hungry last season. If you put last year's Knicks team this season, I can guarantee you they would not get swept by the Celtics. They would not get swept by the Cavs. They would not get swept by OKC. They're taking at least half of those games if it's a team from last season because of the fight that they had. This season, I don't know what happened. I'm not in the Knicks locker room. I don't know the dynamics of the locker room, so I'm not going to act like I know what's going on. But to me, it seems like from the outside looking in, although the cat trade brought more talent to the team, it seems like when Randall and DiVincenzo went the other way, it seemed like some fight left the team as well. And this team is not fighting like how they were last season. So I think there's two ways to look at it. Like, is it a Thibs problem or is it a personnel problem? Like, if you could somehow fix the personnel, could Thibs remain the coach of this team and bring him to the next level? Or it doesn't, or personnel's not the issue. It's just Thibs. But at the end of the day, I feel like you have to look at the results. If the Knicks continuously get knocked out in the second round, yeah, the coach deserves to be on the hot seat because this team is talented and this team should be challenging at least for Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, at least. And you have to, and it comes to a point where it's like, okay, who's out there available as a coach, and the coaches who are available, can we level up with one of those coaches to get us to the next level? So rightfully so, I think Thibs should be on the hot seat this season because I think another second round exit, it raises eyebrows. You have to look at the team and be like, all right, how do we get past the second round and finally get to the Eastern Conference Finals at least?
Well said. Welcome back, Ryan G. All right. Ryan G. I feel like Lee wants to talk. He's rubbing his shin a lot.
Thinking about what Ryan just said, I was surprised that Ryan was had a stronger critical feeling of Thibs. Usually Ryan sees the good on both sides, which I think it what makes him so interesting, but I agree with him. I think it's time to have a harsh conversation about Tom Thibodeau this summer. I want to start, Ryan. I appreciate you so much, man. It's great having you back. I actually wanted to be a better co-host because I think to be a great team, think about the Spurs, Miami Heatles, everyone played their role. And I didn't want to be my role to only be the one who argued or have hot takes. So I actually went back and studied tape of you the last couple of years that you've been doing things with Jay and really picked up things that you do that I think make you such a great compliment. I mean, it don't matter who's on the show, which one of us will show up, which one of us couldn't, what special guest we had on. You always brought a certain energy and a certain likability that is really hard to imitate. I'm a little bit more about the lightning rod in my takes and my personality, but there were some things about you being able to see the silver lining from other people's point of view that I think made you really special. And that was something I tried to adopt into my takes. So I wanted to give you props for everything you bring to the show. You were definitely missed by not just us here on the panel, but the chat every episode asking where Ryan is. You're much loved, dude, and I want to give you your flowers.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
For Tom Thibodeau, this is it. First series I'm not worried about. I think we're going to take short order of the Detroit Pistons. Doesn't mean I don't respect them. I just think we're the superior team, and it's a bad matchup for them facing us. The second round is where all of my opinions are going to come into play on what happened to Tom Thibodeau. To start this season, I was in my Ryan bag, and I said I'm no longer going to be based whether I think he should be fired on regular season wins, trends, losses, how many in a row. Didn't matter to me. I was only going to focus on the playoffs. Well, now they're here. In the second round, if he does not compete, have the Knicks in every game, and also extend the series to 6 or 7, I think he should be fired. I don't think there should be any maybes about it or conversations. I think there should be an edict. And it seems like there's some kind of edict because finally Ian Begley reported this. The Thibs, there's a standard we expect you to meet in the playoffs. It might not be beating the Celtics. It might be a 7-game series. It might be no blowouts. It might be every game is really close. If we lose a stunning 6-game series, not a 4 or 5 easy sweep. We have to look like we're in the same level of competition. Otherwise, it's time to move on. I think that's a very fair take, and I wonder how all the positive Thibs propagandists out there are going to spin this one because typically like, well, if Ian didn't say it, then it's not out of God's mouth. Well, now Ian said it. Ian's the one that's not only saying this, he is saying he is reporting this and hearing this from the sources he trusts to make statements on the Knicks in his career. So this is coming from a very trustable source that is on the hot seat. And I honestly believe he should be, because you got anybody coaches that have won championships in modernity, 21st century, 2000 and now, most of them have done it in year 3. The only one who has done it past year 5 is Mike Malone, who won it in year 8 with the Denver Nuggets. Thibs right now, this would be the second longest extension it took for someone to win a championship with a team if he was to win it this season in year 5. Next year would still be second until he hits 8 years and ties Mike Malone. That shows that most championship coaches are able to execute it, whether they come in and rebuild and build. They come in to a playoff team and make them a contender, or they come to a super team and they have to win right away. The majority of the time they win in year 3. We are now in year 5, and we have not even seen a conference finals. Many of the coaches who won it in year 3 or year 5, they had already had conference finals in their resume before that. So this is something very important for our Knicks fans to realize, that we actually now have some options with Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone having been fired, to where that question of what next is not so daunting as it was 6 weeks ago or 10 days ago. Now there might even be more coaches, if you want to include Budenholzer, who I do not, plus assistants that we could be choosing from. But to me, it's all about Boston. How do we compete against Boston? That should dictate whether Tibbs stays or goes.
This year 3 versus year 5 thing is always like an interesting debate to me, because I kind of still feel like when you trade starters, to me, I don't see you trading your core starters being year 5. Like, I see that as like a reset to me. So that's my perception of it. However, I still stand on the tree of we're not competing is concerning to me. Again, the Cavs lost. I know the ping pong balls were set and all that stuff. The Cavs loss to me was really concerning to me. Like, because to me, that's like a pride thing. You know this team beat you a few times already. You know they don't have Donovan Mitchell. How do you let them walk out of there with a win?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the other games I felt like was, okay, OG just came back. He's out of rhythm. Okay, Mitch hasn't really played that much. Okay, the Jalen Brunson got injured the first game versus the Cavs. Like, I saw there was like certain circumstances in those games. Like, okay, well, with the exception of OKC, which I just felt like OKC just smacked the crap out of us, and there was no excuses for the OKC performances. When it came to like the Cavs and the Celtics, there was like these weird back-to-backs and weird injuries that we were fighting through. That last Cavs game, I was like, what the hell, bro? What the hell? I don't know what that was. I don't know what that. It was unexcusable to me. I'm gonna ask Ebony a different question and Fritz, because I kind of already know where y'all stand on whether Tibbs should be let go or not for performances. I'm gonna switch the question up. I'm gonna ask you guys, what is your standard for keeping him? We already said, we all know if we don't beat Detroit, he should be let go, right? Everybody agrees to that, right? When you get to the second round, though, Ebony, what is success to you in the second round where Tibbs stays? Is it a game, 2 games? Is it no blowouts? How do you see it?
My mute button again. It's I think we just have to play hard. How we play, even if we do, it's just how we play, how we lose. I think ECF for me. I still believe we can get to ECF. And again, if we do, when we do play Boston, it's how we lose. Do we look pathetic? Do we adjust? Do we try? Do we try everything we can try to get the W? Or we just going to stay stuck in the Tibbs way and go down with his ship just because it's his way or no way, How do the players look to, are they still responding to him? Does he still have the locker room? Is he still getting the best out of his players like they say he is? Things of that nature. I just want to say real quick, Tibbs, he's been here for 5 seasons, right? And his playoff record is 14-15.
Mm-hmm.
So if 14-15 is that's what 483 they say. 14-50. And it reminds me of Dwayne Casey, whose Toronto record was 21-30. And he was there for 7 years. You get what I mean? So sometimes time is not is not what you need. Sometimes a coach can carry you only but so far, and you have to make adjustments. So if he's not getting the best out of our whole team, because we don't have 3 or 4 pieces, we don't have a small team. We have pieces now. There's not Alfred Payton. There's pieces. Mikal, Cat. You have pieces. OG. You see Shamit coming on. Pieces. Just that's it. So if we're not using those, we're not utilizing all of our team to the best of our ability. If he's not listening to the game, then he gotta go. Yeah, because it's the same thing. Different players, same problem. So he has to go. And I let my play in there.
So your short answer is, as long as he play hard. If we get swept and we play hard, what do you say?
If we get swept, no, I'm not accepting sweeps.
If we win one game but we play hard,
we better play extremely hard.
we gotta be like buzzer beaters.
I'm talking about 1 or 2 point difference.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Extremely hard 1 or 2 point difference. I feel you on that. Fritz, I feel like I got a beat on Fritz. Feel like I got a beat on Fritz.
I know it's coming, but no. When it comes to Tibbs, like Tibbs doesn't shoot the ball. Tibbs doesn't pass the ball, but there are like performance standards that he should meet. So if we know the competition, and the competition, we have some very competent coaches in the East. There's some elite coaches in the East, and we know they're gonna have those in-game adjustments. Can Tibbs counter? If he can't counter, that alone, if he shows that he can't rise to the occasion, that alone, I would give him the boot. Even if he passes the first round. So you can win despite a coach. You can win because of a coach. And right now, people aren't winning because of Tibbs. And I think that's where we are. I think Leon Rose came in. All we had was the moniker as world famous most famous arena. We weren't a world-class organization. We made dumb moves. But one thing we know, elite organizations have expectations. You know, the Lakers, they can have a good coach. They made the playoffs, and the coach still get fired because he didn't win a championship. That's their standard. So the Knicks standard can't be making the playoffs anymore. So we're trying to be a world-class organization. So his standard has to be with the elite coaches in the East. So if you can't hang with the elite coaches in the East, that's where I have an issue.
Question for you, Fritz.
Yeah.
What change? What adjustment do you feel like? Okay, if we're losing, he doesn't make this adjustment, I'm raising an eye.
Like trapping, certain things like trapping, or what was it? The Cleveland game. They made a change at halftime, and within 4 minutes, we were down. So I mean, certain like that. Can he stop the bleeding?
Gotcha.
Is he calling the right timeout?
Got you. I feel like Lee wanted to say something.
Certain things like that. Like a coach he has to win these games. It's not the thing is being in the captain's chair when we win. Like he has to have a certain level of performance to keep this job because we want to be an elite team.
I think Fritz cooked. I agree with almost everything he said. That was one of his best breakdowns he's had in this argument about Tibbs, and I agree with him. I think the things like he's been very tight-lipped about what the game plan is going to be, who you might see in the rotation if certain guys like Shamit have larger roles. I think he understands that his seat is hot and he's playing that very close to the chest, but the season itself hasn't given us an indication that all of a sudden we're going to see zone or we're going to see an increased spamming of pick and roll. For some reason, he's gone away. from a Cat and Brunson pick and roll. Is that going to be back? Are we going to see the first out of the first 10 plays in a run the first quarter, 7 or 8 of them have at least one action, a pick and roll in them between Brunson and Cat? They should. Why the hell wouldn't you, especially against a team that plays drop like Detroit? Like, to me, that's an obvious one. If he's been waiting this whole regular season, now I'm not going to show it until the postseason, and then I'm going to spam the shit out of it because it works in practice. Okay, well, if we don't see it, then that hasn't been the plan. And you really stick to the formula and very veer off. And Ebony has been right this whole time that you really have no idea how to freestyle in the playoffs. We've seen these adjustments, but they tend to be adjustments for 10, 15 game sample sizes, not quarter to quarter, sometimes play to play. That's where Thibs has really struggled. I would argue of the 12 coaches that are in the playoffs guaranteed, not playing, of those 12, no one is on a hotter seat than Tom Thibodeau because he's been there the longest without winning a championship, and he's had the highest expectations because it's a roster he has at his disposal. This roster can beat Boston. Will it beat Boston is a question, but to me, there's enough talent on both sides of the ball with Mitch and everyone healthy to beat Boston. How do you utilize the talent to the best case scenario? And this is, to me, the series that will tell that. And I think Leon Rose, I'm so happy. I've never been prouder of him that he actually used Ian or went through Ian or other sources to let the public and team and Thibs know, listen, we're going to judge you by how much those are his words, how you compete against Boston. You better blow Detroit the hell out, and you better really compete against Boston. I'm glad he can finally see it as a business decision because we all knew he was not going to be fired in that first contract. We all knew he would play it out. But this extension is now up in the air. You have to prove it every single year you're here.
Funny enough, the news, Thibs has been tight-lipped about what he's going to do. But the news that did kind of leak out was news about Mitchell Robinson. And pretty much the news was if the Knicks get desperate, he would be starting. Which was interesting. It was interesting. That was very things to make you go, if the Knicks get desperate. So I mean, it was one of those things where what is desperate? What does desperate mean down 3-1? Like what like what is desperate? But yeah, even if he's starting or not, I hope to see a lot more Mitch Cat minutes during the playoffs. That would be nice to see. That's just me personally. Just me personally.
Yeah, and also I agree with that as well because to me, it's kind of, I guess this kind of piggybacks off of what was talking about with a coach making adjustments and, having the ability to like read a game and things of that nature. It's like, okay, you get Cat, right? And you see that last season with Minnesota makes it to, I believe, the Western Conference Finals, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And Minnesota had a center in Gobert, and they had Cat playing the 4. And that worked out well for them. And they were still able to play defense like they should and be a good defensive team. So it's like, as a coach, you have a similar player in Gobert on the roster in Mitch. And, Cat is a better stretch 4 than he is a 5. Why not, why are you not able to, view the tape, the Minnesota tape, and see how, I forgot the coach's name in Minnesota, but see, how he played Cat. Yeah, see how he played Cat and Gobert together and try to incorporate that with the Knicks and try to take advantage of that. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that I see, some Mitch and Cat minutes as well together. But, I mean, it remains to be seen. But, I mean, to me, in my eyes, that's a good coach right there. A coach that can, get players, see how they played well with other teams, see what worked, and then incorporate that within your roster and try to get the best out of that player and things of that nature.
True. All true. You know what? We can actually start talking about these Knicks Detroit matchup. But before we do, does anybody else have anything to add about the Tom Thibodeau possibly being fired for his lack of performance in the playoffs?
Yeah. Before I was really, because again, he's shown up and down. He's shown that some good streaks, some good things as a Knicks coach, of course. But the thing with, and then we start hearing about all these other coaches that lost the job that could get the job. But I heard that with not Budenholzer, it was Mike Malone, that they're very similar. So it's like you replacing Thibodeau for Thibodeau. Like I mentioned it on another pod. It's like the Spider-Man meme, where both Spider-Mans is pointing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of Mike Malone and Tibbs, both very vet heavy, very I believe in the vet type vibe. So that's why I haven't been fired Tibbs, because I really didn't have a name to replace him with. The two people that I wanted from before when I was on my fire Tibbs kick was Johnny Bryant and Kenny Atkinson.
Right.
Both of them, though, they can't be had right now. But again, I see Prezi saying, why don't we give Phil Jackson a call? Not never. I don't say
He's trolling. Absolutely trolling.
I don't even say in somebody I trust anymore because of Phil. I use that line with Phil, and never again will I use that line again. Never, unless it's the big man upstairs. Never will I use that line again. So yeah, that was funny. I thought that was funny with Prezi. We're not calling for his job, Prezi. We saying if I'm sorry, if we've been here 5 seasons now. If it's not progression and we're going regression, then he has to go. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Also, I had a part. I've seen like a drift with fans on the what this year is supposed to be. I know before the season when the trade just happened, everybody was saying Eastern Conference or bust. Everybody on this panel, everybody in the comments, Eastern Conference, we got it in the bag, possibly the finals. Fans have changed with what the expectation is. The expectation is, hey, we just got to show good in the first round. Hey, we just got to show good in the second round.
Roll the tape. Jay Ellis from the beginning of the season. Yo, we can beat the Celtics. I never ever I said we could beat the Celtics. I always said we got to play and see what's going to happen.
I definitely said our roster was not with the Celtics. That's one thing I've always said.
The team that I said we could beat is the Cavs. I didn't care what the Cavs was doing. I was like, we can beat the Cavs. The Celtics, I always had an asterisk next to the Celtics from the beginning of the season till now. I was like, I feel more confident that we can be more competitive after what I saw the last game. Is beating the Celtics in the bag? No.
Okay.
Well, I haven't changed. I still think we can beat the Celtics. I haven't changed. I said that preseason. I mean that now. I still think we can. I think our roster is built to beat them, and I think we can beat them. It's going to take the right adjustments.
Yeah, that I agree. The same. We beat ourselves. Adjustments. Staying focused. 20 for 4 quarters. That's been our biggest problem throughout this whole season. Putting together 4 quarters.
Right.
Or staying locked in 4 quarters. I was able to watch some. I didn't get to finish it, but I was able to watch majority of the game again versus Detroit. And even in that game, a lot of when they got into the game, it was our mistakes. It was things that we did, not necessarily things that they did, but things that we did. We weren't reading the game correctly. We weren't forcing. Our point guards in that, since we're talking, we were about to talk Detroit, that our point guards in that third quarter kind of gave the lead away when you think about it a little bit. McBride couldn't hit a shot. He did his best John Starks impression for a little while. and then JB was forcing it, a couple turnovers in a row, and they looked to push against our unset defense every time. That's literally how they got back into the game. They unset defense. It got to the point where every time made shots, they were just looking to push. We would miss a shot, they would go because they were hunting mismatches like PJ on Cade, stuff like that. Stuff like that. That's what they were looking for. They were looking to get our unset defense, and then we were going against their set defense. It was, and the game really changed when they took out Durant and put in Stewart, because that's when he kind of shut Precious' water off. He made it difficult and physical for Cat too. No, but first it was Precious. Because Durant came in I think it was third quarter. They took him out.
Respectfully, I don't call anybody shutting Precious water off, because his water is off most of the time.
Yeah, but that
Oh,
game he had 18
man.
points. You get what I'm saying? I had to say
Oh,
shut his
man.
water off because at that point he was our offense. He was
You ain't
our
lying,
offense.
Yeah.
And again in that third quarter, what we were just talking about, Tibbs, Mikal, we asked him to be aggressive. In that third quarter in Detroit, Mikal was trying to be aggressive. He had a couple floaters, got to the line, couple pull-ups, and what does Tibbs do? He sits him. He sits him down. He was literally our offense at the time. And he getting into a groove. And Tibbs sits him. Stuff like that. Again, that was Detroit. I don't know how much of that game was chess and checkers, but that to me, it was like, don't do that. Because he did it with Shamet in Cleveland.
Well, if there's one thing I can guarantee that's going to happen during the playoffs, Mikal ain't going to be sitting much. If Mikal has his floater game going and stuff, he will not be sitting. I'm telling you that right now. There's one thing I know for certain, two things for sure. Mikal's playing a lot of minutes.
I got one more super hot take to end this conversation, at least in my part in the conversation on Tibbs. Even if we compete against Boston, if that Detroit Knicks series goes 7, fire his ass. There's no reason in hell but the Pistons series should go 7, because that we are the worst possible matchup outside of Boston, even more than Cleveland. We're a terrible matchup for Detroit because we play the complete opposite in pace. We are a team that is very good at hitting threes, and we're a team that has multiple first options on any given night. They're a team built like the teams that Tibbs initiated and started and created his defense from, the Boston teams in 2000s, Van Gundy teams in the late 2000s. One-man offenses where the best player is also the initiator. That's Cade Cunningham. I'm going to say another hot take. I think Cade Cunningham's the most talented player in this series. I think he's if I'm going to rank him, Cade's number 1, then it's Brunson, then it's Cat, then it's OG, then it's Mikal, then it's Hart, then it's Malik Beasley. That's my opinion. But Cade's number 1. Their second best player, it comes off the bench, scores 16 a game, and is a role player who's having a career year. And Malik Beasley, with Jaden Ivey out, if he returns, you don't know what he looks like. But right now, as a role player off the bench, that's her number 2 option. This team is tailor-made for Tibbs to shut down. The coach he's facing against, he's out-coached maybe his greatest playoff performance with the Cleveland Cavs, and that Cavs team is better than this current Pistons team. That Cavs team had more talent than this Pistons team, was a better defensive team than this Pistons team. It was better overall, more veterans, more playoff experience, everything. It was better. There's no excuse for this series to go 7, and if it does, unless they beat Boston next round, fire his ass.
Until Cade Cunningham can almost average 40 like Jalen Brunson did versus the 76ers, I don't want to hear Cade Cunningham is better than Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that. That's crazy. He got to do something first. He just got here yesterday.
Especially
he just learned to walk.
Jay, especially when you pull out the stats and they say that it's only 2 people to score. What's the stat line with him and Jordan? It's only him and Jordan. Until Cade joins that, him and Jordan, I'm not saying that.
We can't say the regular season means nothing and the playoffs mean everything. And Jalen Brunson goes off in the playoffs. And Cade's never seen the playoffs, and then say Cade is better than Jalen. Nah.
Yeah.
I think he's the most talented. I think he's the most talented.
I will say this though, which is another reason why the Knicks should dominate the Pistons this series, because if you look at the players on that Pistons team, a lot of them is going to be their first playoff experience, which means they're going to be wet behind the ears, breath smell like Similac, which means the Knicks should beat them, and it should beat them pretty easily as well. So, yeah.
I swear, Ryan, this reminds me of us that first time when we came in the playoffs, and we was all super cocky about how our team was about to do this and do that. And it showed that we was missing pieces. They basically said, you and Randall not going to beat us. No. We're going to let RJ, we're going to let Josh Hart, we're going to let somebody else take these shots.
Yo.
So this series really reminds me of that. I believe Cade is very talented. I do. But we didn't force them to shoot from outside that game, so we don't know what that looks like. We pretty much allow him to get whatever he wants. So he looked like he was the best player on that court because we didn't send doubles. We didn't push back. at all the last time we played him. But again, what does that look like when OG or Mikel is there? Now he's switching. It's over. It ain't no next game. This is it. So you get a bunch of Mikel is not going to be Deuce, and you cooking Deuce all game in the post. That's not going to happen in the playoffs. Well, it shouldn't happen because Thibodeau should adjust and not put Deuce on K.
Yeah, yeah. I know these did stuff to him, locked him up in college, but we in college anymore. We
Yeah,
in the NBA.
that baby was hook
I'm
shot
not
right
disagreeing
over
with who.
Deuce.
I'm not disagreeing with who has a better resume. I'm not disagreeing that Jalen's a better playoff because Cade's never even been in the playoffs, so it's not even a competition. Just talking about talent. I think next year, after this playoff series and Cade goes off, I think there's going to be a solid argument on which one's better. Right now, I think Cade is more talented personally. I think he has the better future from this point on in the rest of their career. Yeah, he's like 4 years under. I get that. I'm just saying they had the best player, but we had the best starting five and a better team.
Yeah, Kate is an ascending talent. I think people are gonna go with who's the high hand. Like beginning of the year, people were wondering if Kate is a franchise player, and Kate has really come on this year. So I think they want him to do well, and they're gonna put him in the forefront, and they're gonna talk. They're gonna talk like, he's gonna dominate this. But we've seen Brunson the last 3 years has been one of the top three players in the playoffs each year. He walked in Luka's shoes when Luka was out.
Yep.
And he led us the last 2 years. Brunson has nothing to prove here. It's Cade who has to prove something.
Agree with that too.
Cade and THibs.
Well
All
said.
Cade, you trying to sneak that?
Yo, let's get. I mean, we kind of already started the conversation about the Pistons, but let's get to it. I think let's start off with Ebony, since we kind of had this conversation a little bit about the Knicks and Pistons. What are your concerns about the Knicks and Pistons? And what do you feel like the advantages we have?
Advantage. I think Jalen Brunson's advantage. I think Cat can be an advantage if he reads the game, correctly. I you already know my ace in the hole is Mitch. Because again, all these beat writers and things of that, they never mention Mitch. It's like they forgot about him. The ones that I've seen and read through and pods that I've listened, they never once mentioned Mitch. So what does that look like again when it's not PJ or Achua or Cat there? You have Big Mitch there to help with that hook shot or just the hesitation, So that kind of made me like, okay, that's an advantage. I think with us, we just have the deeper team. We just gotta play smart. Do not stay home. K is a good player. We're gonna try to make it difficult for him. But if we stay home, I think we'll be okay. Some things that and also they have a lot of moving parts. You have to pick: do you want a Saw, or you want Holland in? Do you want Durant, or do you want Stewart in? So we can force their hand a little bit. Some disadvantages some things that worry me is, again, it stems for a lot from THibs. If things are working, do we keep going to it and make them adjust, or will he adjust for them? We tend to stop going to hot hands or things that are working. Mikel's aggressiveness, another thing. We're going to need him. We're going to need him not to just be Ghost and Casper in games. I just what does his aggression look like? What is his role? Cat fouls troubles. That's a worriment for me too. But as Detroit on the side, keep Durant boxing out. We got to box out. Keep Durant, keep Stewart off the glass. Make them one shot. Get it in that half court set, and I think we're fine.
Good points. What do you think, Malia? I know you kind of I know you kind of spoke a little bit about the advantage of Malik Beasley off the bench, and that might be a con for us. But what do you feel like are pros and cons with this Detroit versus Knicks matchup?
Okay. I'll do pros first. I think that we can defend them without ever sending to the ball. I think that's a philosophy that we should stick with, in my opinion, because the way that Detroit has beat us this season is when we do double, even if it's on that soft hedge past the free throw line, we end up getting lost in rotation, and that's how they find open shooters. So to me, don't send two of the ball. Let guys beat you off a dribble, especially if it's Amen Thompson, Jalen Duren, or Tobias Harris, who statistically aren't strong in any one category around in terms of finishing at the three-scoring level. As well, Hunt. I think we have some advantages, and Jalen Brunson is able to cook just about all five guys that play in their starting rotations. When they did combinations of Stewart and my homeboy Ron Holland from Duncanville, Texas, those staggered combos on the defensive side, that is going to do Brunson some trouble. That's when he's got to learn to trust the pass. And how do you trust the pass? You kickstart it with multiple sets, running some variation of pick and roll every single quarter. Start with it, get into it when your offense gets into a slump, and let you execute on your strengths, which is Karl-Anthony Towns' dribble ability, driving ability, and pull-up ability. Use that in pick and pop and pick and roll scenarios. That it might be our best strength is how badly we can beat them when they're in drop. And if you want to guard us on the perimeter, Brunson's one of our best pull-up three-point shooters, and Cat is one of the greatest three-point shooters at the big man position ever. So to me, try to get Jalen Duren in switches. Hunt him if you're Jalen Brunson, attack him, and utilize Josh Hart in smart ways. Sure, you're going to start him. I get it. But it doesn't mean he has to play 40 minutes. It could mean he just play 20% of a singular quarter, whether it's coming out of the halftime at the third, or maybe to start the fourth or finish the fourth even, if someone like Shamet or Deuce is giving you great minutes, because plus minus net ratings, those are our two best lineups, rotations that Tibbs has at his disposal. He knows all these numbers. I'm sure it's in his back pocket. Spam that pick and roll. Put them in tough decisions to have to guard and make them have to hit clean rotations, because they have some weaknesses there with Tim Hardaway Jr., who is an ass defender, awful defender. And Malik Beasley, quiet as kept, probably an average at best, mostly below average, and will get exposed in these playoffs when he's having a guard on an island, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, three different physical types that can all beat you off a dribble. Weaknesses, they are dangerous in those Cade Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley pick and roll. Those ball screens, guard to guard, they get us in trouble and can really put Jalen Brunson in foul trouble. It can also put Cat in foul trouble off of switches. We really got to be careful to minimize fouls. I don't know what that means. I'm not smart enough to steam up a defense that ensures the Towns is not put into a lot of their pick and roll action. Maybe that pre-switch where OG Anunoby comes back. I don't know the answer. Maybe you try bid-to-bid combos. So Mitch is darting the majority of those rollers to the basket. This is Tibbs' job. I'm just saying some things that we should see. And speaking on that, to land the plane, we got to see some zone. It's time.
That's not
if there's
happening.
a team to play zone, if there's a team to play zone, though, Jay, it's the Pistons.
It is the team to play zone.
Three. They only have three reliable shooters, and all three can pull up off the dribble. All of them can, but they're not pure shooters. They're volume shooters. Timmy, Beasley, Cade. That's where the shot's coming from. Play Amen Thompson the way they Sir Thompson the way they play Josh Hart. Play Jalen Duren the way they play Mitch. Put our center on their weakest shooter and watch it screw up their rotations and their open shots and bash and break up their plays. Defend the lob. Don't let Jalen Duren get 12 easy points all on lobs from Cade Cunningham's pick and roll volatility. Defend that. You know what's coming. I trust Tibbs. I think we're about to see the greatest coaching performances in Tom Thibodeau's life in this first round. I truly believe that.
Yeah. Can I say real quick to Lee? Yeah, Tibbs is definitely probably not playing zone, but I said the same thing with the Josh Hart treatment. Because even Detroit, when we played them, they stacked up off of Precious and PJ. They clogged the lane heavy. So that's why Jalen Brunson couldn't really get into the spots they were waiting there. There was a wall there. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times we didn't do that with Thompson. I watched it and they stuck to his hip, and I'm like, wow, he ain't James Harden. What you doing? You're trying to fight over screens, and I'm like, wow, he not Steph Curry. What you doing?
Yeah.
So stuff like that. If we just pay attention to details, you got to pay attention to all the details. If you have a non-shooter, clog the lane. It was so many times where even Precious and Cat were in between. Like they didn't know whether to stop the ball, come over, and you got to give up. I mean, you have to take away something. You can't be stuck in the middle because
I
now
agree.
you give up everything, and that's what the problem is. We're stuck in the middle a lot, and then they either two on the ball by accident because it's not by design, and then we get an open 3-pointer. So yeah, I agree. I would like to see some zone, but I think if we just go under the go under screens and give people Josh Hart treatment like they do to us and stack that lane, it'll make it easier. Now you're forcing them to be more of a 3-point shooter team, and they don't take that many 3-pointers. They're a number 22 in 3-point attempts, so they're not trying in season. They're not trying to take many threes.
Yeah, there will be moments when if Tim Hardaway's cold and Ron Holland comes off the bench, there'll be moments where Cade's the only shooter on the floor. If there's ever a time to play zone, the game's telling you to. Is Tibbs don't listen? That's a question.
That's not happening. That's we gonna see the Easter Bunny Sunday before we see
That's a damn shame, man. It's time to have a convo then.
Listen, if we win, we don't have to have that convo. But one thing for certain, one thing for sure, two things for certain. We ain't seeing zone anytime in this series. You know, right? Ryan G. I know they said they took a lot of the juicies. I don't know if we got anything left.
Yeah. I got a few things. Although I do believe that the Knicks should win this series, and they should win this series, you know, with little to less not much resistance. The couple things that do worry me about the Pistons series is the fact that it's going to be a young team with confidence because they took 3 or 4 from the Knicks in the regular season. You already know that they're going to have that confidence going into that playoffs, thinking that, you know what, we can beat these guys because we beat them 3 out of 4 in the regular season. And when you have a young team that has that confidence, they're dangerous. So that's one thing that does worry me about that series. Like, I do think the Pistons are going to put up a fight in this series. Like, the Knicks are not just going to, I don't think the Knicks are going to realistically just roll them over. You know, I think the Pistons are going to put up some fight. That's why I believe that the Knicks are going to win this in 6. But that and the fact that I think this series is just going to come down to pace, really. You know, who can control the pace of the game, because these are two teams on the opposite side of the spectrum. Pistons is one of the faster teams in the league, top 10. I think they're 9th in pace. And the Knicks are one of the slower teams in the league. So it comes to a point where it's like, which team can control the pace? And since it's the playoffs, you would think that the Knicks should be able to control pace, because usually in the playoffs, the game slows down. And the Knicks operate well when the game is slowed down. It would be up to the Pistons to try to increase the pace to try to pull the game in their favor. But if they're playing a slow-paced game, that's in favor of the Knicks. So I just think that when it's all said and done, if the Knicks can control the pace and keep the game slow, half court, they have a good chance to win this game. I mean, they have a good chance to win this series with little to no resistance.
What you got, Fritz?
Yeah, I think keeping their confidence low is a big thing. They have a lot of athletes on this team. You know what I mean? They have a lot of good athletes. Players like you can look in the future. It's like, hey, these guys are going to be really good in the future. They aren't there yet, but if you give them confidence, they're going to give you issues. So making sure that Duran is in check. That's on Cat. like Duran is the type of player. Some nights you can look at him, you don't see what the big deal is, but if he has confidence, he is the type of player who can put 20 and 20 on you. Like he's just that kind of confidence you don't want to give to certain young players.
I think Fritz makes a good point. To me, the adjustment that I see moving forward that's going to be the most important is how do they guard Cat. Mostly when you think about the games in Detroit in the past, Bickerstaff has kind of played him the same way that he played Mitch and Julius in Cleveland. It was one up with Jared Allen. And with the Cavs, I mean, with the Pistons, it's been Jalen Duren playing Cat straight up. I think you're going to see the first 2 games. You're going to see that. Game 3 is where those big adjustments come after each team has showed their cards. Then that's where Tibbs has struggled, is adjusting to the adjustment. How does he go if he puts Amon Thompson now on Cat and puts Jalen Duren on Hart and basically neutralizes Hart, dares him to shoot and cuts off his driving lanes for that one-man downhill 2-pointer at the rim? That's going to be something that Tibbs going to have to steam and say, make the hard choice. Either sit Hart, put in Shamit, put in Deuce, put in Cam. Maybe that's when DeLon Wright comes in, or you change your rotations and find ways to put Josh Hart in scoring opportunities, whether you use him as an off-ball cutter or an off-ball ball screener, and then in catch and shoot opportunities. But again, that also pairs into not just Tibbs. Does Hart make the shot when he has a shot?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jay. You haven't said anything about.
Now I feel like Isaiah Stewart is Isaiah Stewart gave a lot. Yeah, he had a lot of problems. So when I'm looking at one of those things that make you go, like how are we gonna solve this Rubik's Cube? It's gonna be the Isaiah Stewart Karl Anthony Towns matchup, because he pretty much shut him down one-on-one, like you said before.
But
bench
yeah,
Durham,
definitely.
and it worked. So that's something I'm looking at. What was you about to say, Ebony?
Nah, facts he did, but one move Cat did, because Durant or Stewart, they're all heart and hustle and athletics. Not like they're don't read the game well just yet. They're young, so they're all jumping. Worrying about depending on the athletics. Cat had a great read where he's coming off I think it was an inbound play. He's coming from off the baseline up towards the wing. And he faked like he was going to the wing and drops back to the baseline 3-pointer. And it gave him enough space where he hit I think it probably the only 3 he hit in the game.
Yeah, I remember that play.
So I think and it was a couple times where, again, Cat was open on the wing. If he had maybe relocated a little bit, just came up, he would have had an open 3. Instead, chose to maybe dive in or take the ball and try to beat him off the dribble automatically. If I guarantee if Cat just slows it down a little bit, a head fake here, a head fake there, he getting them babies off their feet. He got to work smarter though. That's just it, Cat. I think a more perimeter-oriented Cat is needed for this series. He has to let that thing fly. He has to, because he has to bring the gravity to him. So they can't say we just can guard you one-on-one. Now it's we got to get in his face. That helps. That will help Jalen Brunson. The spacing for Jalen. That will help the spacing for Josh. And if Mitch is there, then you get extra rebounds if it doesn't go in, hopefully. So we'll see. And I think this is more of if they do put Amen on him, but I think a lot of, even in the Detroit game, he got a lot of good looks. It just he already had what he was going to do in his head. I think Cat is going to be huge thing, a huge Josh Hart too, because I mentioned in the last pod how they said that Cade has problems with his size defender, like the Marcus Smart type Nimhart. That's what the Detroit fans were saying. So that's something else to look at.
Good. Some good points. I would also say Ebony mentioned the Mitch. The Detroit Pistons, like, rebounding the ball, they out rebound us in general. Offensive rebounds, they better offensive rebounders than us. When it comes to like toughness and our grit, I feel like one of the things that really made us tough and gritty last season, when we were able to get a bunch of rebounds. We have not been able to do that this season, but Mitch can help clean some of that stuff up. So hopefully the rebounding advantage that the Pistons naturally has gets shorter or loses with Mitch in the lineup, maybe even with Mitch and Cat in the lineup, it's some points together. So that's something I think we should look at as well. Free throws. The Detroit Pistons, they take a decent amount of free throws. For some reason, Cat wasn't getting those calls this year. We wasn't really getting to the line as much this year. So we got to watch the hacking and whacking as what Clyde Frazier would say, and keep them off the free throw line. So those are some concerns I would have. Of course, you already know the pick and roll defense has always been concerned with a maestro like Kate Cunningham running the show. But then again, like I said, Cat is going to have his issues, but sprinkling in and Mitch in those situations will help us as well. I'm really curious to see how much Mitch actually plays during the series. Is he going to give us 25 to 30 minutes a game? To me, I feel like that might be ideal for certain things. Like, I saw a clip of OG Anunoby guarding Cade Cunningham and he gets screened. and Cat had to pick up Cade Cunningham and he draws a foul. If that's Mitch, that's a different situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to make so like maybe Mitch just being in the lineup in general is going to help us clean up a lot of things. A lot of people forget, like Ebony started the show saying, Mitch hasn't played a game versus Detroit Pistons. So that's just definitely something to keep an eye on. And you guys already mentioned the 3-point shooting. These guys aren't good 3-point shooters. I feel like switching Jalen Brunson off of Cade Cunningham onto the non-shooters, and then having, other defenders guard those guard-to-guard screens is going to help us, because then we can just switch those. You know what I'm saying? We can just switch those. And Jalen Brunson can lay off the non-shooter, kind of clog up the paint, and we can do some damage that way. So I think that's something we can hope we do during this series. And an advantage of us is, like, even though we shoot low volume threes, like when we start turning people over, our 3 volume goes up. We can actually we go on rolls sometimes. We go on these long rolls where the threes just start bombing. So even though we have these low volume games over the course of 82 seasons, we can actually start to get rolling pretty quickly once we start getting rolling. So I do feel like the ability to just come back or blow a game open, to me, I think we have that ability more so than Detroit Pistons, who are a low volume kind of 3-point shooting team.
Jay, I'm glad that you talked about the switching. We saw a Thibs trend with that, kind of starting around late January, early February. You started seeing him switch more on the defensive end and not rely on going over screens. And I think he was getting that. Everyone used to that building into the playoffs. I think that's going to be one of the things that he employs, is even higher ratio of how often he switches. And I think it's going to be the minutes what campaign is in for Brunson, because rarely is both Brunson and Cat out of a game at the same time. But I think the times where Cat is either the 4 or 5 pair with Deuce or paying at the 1, though, that's when he's going to go to switch all the ball screens, and it's going to give us some advantages to not get caught in bad matchups and allow our guys to guard up or guard down depending on who's out there. Those are the moments where Ron Holland's on the floor or a Sir Thompson's playing the 4 instead of a 3, and Tobias Harris is sitting. I think in those moments where you have some matchups that lean in your favor, not when Stewart is out there on the perimeter at the 5, but maybe when he's at the 4 or on the bench, you have some advantages there to switch everything on the defensive side.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we talking excuse me, defense, but for Detroit, they run a lineup of Holland, K, Durant, Harris, and THD. They ran that lineup against us, and it was great spacing, like great spacing. They were able to do a lot of dribble handoffs. K was moving freely. That's where their offense seemed very like fluent. We pressed them. They weren't great defensively though. That's when Cat kind of got the advantages, and Durant is again a great young defender, but IQ wise, just yet he's not there. If you move him, he'll make mistakes.
Right.
So that's what the Knicks was doing, and it forced them to kind of sit Durant, and that's when Stewart came through, and
Right.
he did his thing, made an impact on the game. I think that'll be something to look for. Also, something to get those moving pieces. We're not the only ones that have it. They have to make tough choices too. We're not the only one, the Josh Hart Shamit kind of vibes. They have to do the same thing we do. Is it like I mentioned earlier? Is it Thompson or Holland? Is it Durant or Stewart? So they have to make those decisions. Do they? I doubt they're going to put Cade on Brunson. So who guards Brunson?
Yeah, Brunson is always an automatic man. There's nobody on that team that can guard Brunson. Absolutely nobody. Absolutely nobody. All this talk about Cade is the best player. Nobody can guard Brunson. Nobody can guard him.
Yeah.
I made the comparison to LeBron when Lee said this before. I made that LeBron Jordan type of debate where LeBron is the all around player, but Jordan is a killer.
Yeah. Fair.
And K might be the all around talent, but Brunson is a killer. You start counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You don't want to make this man angry.
I'm going Brunson. I'm going Brunson. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, me too. I take him every time.
Me too.
Another thing that worries me is the finding the matchups on defense. We got to get back. We got to get back into our correct matchup. Not I don't want. I know PJ's probably not gonna play, but I don't want to see PJ on Cade, and I don't want to see Brunson on Duran and Stewart. Like when we get back, get the matchup that you can kind of guard a little bit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't pick the guy that you got no chance with.
I
So
agree.
we definitely got to get back on defense. And another thing is the Detroit turnovers. That look for that. Detroit turnovers. They're that could be huge in the playoffs. They were turning the ball over in the game in the regular season. So
Right. And the Knicks, they had a stretch where we was forcing a lot of steals, 12, 13 steal games. For a stretch, we was leading the league in like points off turnovers for a stretch. That is in us, man. That is definitely in us with our defenders. So we activate those turnovers and get going in the open floor. We can blow a game open. We can definitely blow a game open. So keep a lookout for that. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? I know Corey said he wanted to chat. Corey, there's not gonna be, you know, we'll be able to go on video, but I will put the Discord link in the chat if you wanna talk. I'm gonna do that right now. But also there's a lot of you guys in the chat rocking with us on YouTube and TikTok land. Shout out to my guy Nick Nader on TikTok. I see you, my guy. What's up, Nick Nader?
my guy Nick and Nader, good
Phil in
dude.
the chat too.
I see Phil too. I'm about to say.
Nick and Nader in the chat. Shout out to you. Shout out to Phil.
He
Phil in the
said
chat.
that-
Shout out to you, my guy. Hold on, we gotta go, man. The shots hopping tonight. Shout out to President Boss, Phil Porto, JT Reddick. Who else is here? Who else is in the group? Gregory
Lee.
Nick
Drink
Yak,
more.
Corey Lee, no relation. Picks for Timmy. Nugget. Hold up, wait a minute. Nugget fresh in the building? What's Nugget? In a minute, Nugget. What's going on? Nugget? Gimme Mines, East Blue Drew. Everybody rocking with the
JM3.
show, man. Just Knicks, JM30. Everybody, there's a lot of y'all. I can't shout everybody out. But
Phil said that the Nightcat will be back Thursday though.
let's go.
Let's go.
So definitely come back. Tune in Thursday. Now, I'm putting the Discord link in the chat if you guys want to join the Discord. I think
Jay, may I ask a question to the panel, Jay?
Sure.
I got a question that I want to start off with Ryan G because I'm very curious. I know my man's been watching all the games, even though he hasn't joined us for the post game. Going to the series against Detroit. Funny how we all thought this team was going to be good last year, and it ended up taking them an extra year to finally get there. Here we are. Who is the X factor on the Knicks for this series specifically, not the entire postseason, but this matchup? Who is the X factor that player goes off? It's no chance. They had no chance. We're going to wipe the floor with them.
I'll go first. I say Deuce.
Deuce.
I say if Deuce is hitting the three, I think it's over.
Okay.
All right.
I say Deuce is a good answer as well. Just because he's a two-way player. He can hit the three and force turnovers for us potentially. But I'm also going to have to go with our Bojan Bogdanovic off the bench right now, or Dollar Tree Devo, whatever you want to call him.
Dollar Tree Depot.
Squint. You guys squint.
Yeah,
you tilt your head.
squint, turn the lights off a little, put it on dim.
You get them
Only
Devo vibes.
only look at him from like the side quarter, like my guy Sham Wow, Landry Shamet, man.
Okay.
If he gets some minutes, he starts getting on the heater. It can get really scary really fast.
Yeah.
Who you got, Ryan?
Prezi asked, do y'all think it's a sighting? Will it be a sighting? Do you think it will be a sighting? I think.
Yes. Yes.
I think for me, I'm going to go starting lineup because I think Cat is going to get his. I think Brunson's going to get his. But I do think I'm looking at the wings. I'm looking at Bridges. I'm looking at OG because I feel like we already know Brunson going to dominate. we already know Cat's gonna dominate. Those two are gonna do their thing. But if OG and Bridges can just pop up, because we know they're capable, scorers. Like OG this season, I don't know what happened to him in the last few games of this season. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but he was looking like Kawhi Light out there. And Bridges, we know what he done. We know what he's done with the Nets when he was like their leading scorer on that team. So we know those two guys have it in them. And if those guys can explode too on top of the starting lineup, yeah, it's gonna be over.
Ebony?
Yeah, X Factor. I'm gonna say us. Like that's the X Factor. We need each of that. I don't care if it's just a star in a row, but if to be honest, I like the Deuce comparison. I'm gonna say Deuce, and if I have to pick, it'd be Deuce and Mikal. Deuce and Mikal. I do. I know Shaman. I think Shaman. For some reason, I've been saying it all year though. How I think he's gonna be big for us in the playoffs. Oh yeah, I've been saying. I just feel like he is. So I don't have to. I'm not worried about him, so to say, because he doesn't do anything to detriment. Cause problems. How the was it Cam Newton called it a game manager? That's what he was talking about quarterbacks. That's what Shaman is. He does enough to not mess up. At the team does his job just enough. But my thing is Deuce and Mikal, because Deuce last game had a lot of good shots, and a lot of them with me when we played Detroit, rimmed in and out. And I told you in that third quarter, he was doing his best John Starks impression. He was shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, and nothing was going in. And he was also getting blocked. So this year, I'm asking Deuce. I always ask him to work on something. This offseason, baby, get the layup package. We need that. We need that. So just him staying in that mid range. He a mid range killer. I don't know why he doesn't spam that move. Get to the mid range. That's what you do. And also Mikal, just his aggression is just to take some of the workload off of Cat and JB. Even OG, when OG wasn't hitting, he was at least getting to the free throw line. Do something, find something to help the team offensively. We need everybody. So those will be my two. Just Deuce and Mikal, I think, are the X factor.
My X factor is Mitchell Robinson. I think Mitch takes away what the advantage of right now Detroit hypothetically has, which is a bunch of big guys who can crash the boards, which they do crash the boards, and they never run back for leak outs. They crash the offensive boards, and we got some very skilled, talented bigs. Even Paul Reed as their third string he's a better third stringer than he's a backup, like he was in Philly. I think he's a dangerous third stringer for fouls and 2 or 3 offensive boards a game when he's on. Him, Stewart, and Duren, Mitch can neutralize all of that. He's the best offensive rebounder after Steven Adams, but his athleticism, rim protection, shot blocking, and if we start activating him, give him some touches every now and then. Feed the big man. Make him feel like he's a part of a game. Let him get 2 or 3 shots at the rim in the first half and start to feel like he's a part of the offense. You start utilizing him as a rim runner, it's game over. I think Mitch neutralizes all of their strengths, and plus it cuts off Cade Cunningham, one of the best finishers in the game.
I ain't mention him, Lee, because I expect him to do that.
That's how I thought about Bridges, but we all have a different guy.
Yeah, I expect him. I
want bid minutes from Mitch. Mitch knows Bernie Bickerstaff in the way he schemes for his bids better than anybody. So it's time to make them feel like the lights are too bright all over again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely gonna feel like Duren's gonna be saying the lights are too bright. I definitely feel like that for sure. For sure. Everybody was like, we should have drafted Duren. I'm itching for Mitch to show us something so we can stop hearing that crap for real.
Jay, I'm waiting to use that Phantom 300, the Chrysler 300, the Cat Williams line. I waited. I'm put the whole clip up. A Chrysler 300 look like Chrysler 300 until Phantom pull up, right?
I already know Ebony got screenshots and receipts. Screenshots and receipts. Yeah, I like that. You know me. I like that OG X Factor. I've been, Team OG heavy. I feel like the moments where Cat and Brunson are on the bench, like I want to see OG getting his 10 game without Brunson bag and start just beasting people. You know what I mean? Because you know he has it in him. And OG's not scared, man. I saw it during that Pacers series when he's dropped 28. What was it, 28 or 30 when Brunson went down? Before he went down right after that. He saw it in this stretch. OG got something in him, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like OG's gonna have a couple of big games where we're gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, he was worth it for sure.
This series is personal for me because I have a personal vendetta with Tim Hardaway Jr. I never liked the bum, try to make his life hell when I ran into him at the coffee shop. I loved making him cringe his face up every time he saw me walk in there. He knew I was going to say something to him and screw up his day, especially before he played that night. A home game. It was so much fun. So I got a little bit of extra hate in me for Tim Bumaway Jr. I can't wait to shut him down in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
No once a Nick, always with Nick love for Tim Hardaway.
Hell no. Not with him.
Damn.
Not with him. Not with Enos. Clarence Weatherspoon. Nah, there's a couple guys. Moochie. Nah,
Yo,
man.
no, the weirdest time to me, one of the weirdest times in Nick history was when we hired Tim Hardaway Sr. That was just so weird.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like bad karma or something. I think we have to like get away from that. That was crazy.
Was he a scout?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm scouting. You should bring my son back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw this great kid named Tim Hardaway Jr. We should sign him.
Again.
And then we traded him right after that. As soon as we traded him and he was still here, I was like, oh, I know for sure Senior is getting fired or quitting. There's no way he's staying around after we traded his son. And they didn't announce it, nothing. They didn't announce nothing. The next season came and you just didn't see him. You just didn't see him.
Nah, that dude wanted to get us back for those years when the Knicks and the Heat were going at each other in the 90s. My guy was like, you know what? Let me get hired by Knicks and scout some bums and bring them to the team.
Exactly, yo. Working from the inside.
For real.
Yo.
Scout some bums.
I don't know what they was thinking about. I guess they said, hey, we hired Phil and he did us dirty. He was part of our organization. Might as well try to
But Tim Hardaway Jr., that's another level of like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't.
That's Optimus Prime type of hiring, right? That's King Op, right? That's crazy to hire him and put him on a staff. I don't know. That was almost as crazy as having Jason Kidd be on the team, but
yeah. Or Kenyon
Jason
Martin.
Kidd he got us to the playoffs. I missed that.
But it was still crazy, Ebony.
It was.
Kenyon Martin
crazy,
too.
Yo.
Yeah, him and Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Kenyon Martin. And shout
Well,
out to
I
Kenyon
wanted him
because
back.
I interviewed him a
I
while
was
ago,
mad
and
when
he's
he
cool.
retired.
But I doubt that Jason Kidd will ever do a Knicks interview. Ever in his life. Ever.
We show him so much love, though.
We do.
We did.
We did show him love. I wanted him to come back. I was mad because he was the
I feel
closest
like
we
he
had to a
sabotaged
legit
us,
point
yo.
guard. Like we was holding on to a guy barely in the league. He got 1 foot out, but he was the best point guard we had.
Man, Jason Kidd sabotaged us, yo. He was like he did a THibs, yo. He was good all season. Then the playoffs came and he crapped the bed. I feel like he was like, I can't have them too good. I can't play good in the playoffs because they're still the Knicks. I can't have them on the chip. So I'm gonna just.
That sure did happen. He
Man.
dropped the dead that year.
Facts.
I don't know.
And
man.
I ain't even going front. Like when Kenyon Martin was here, I love Kenyon Martin, son.
Me
Like
too.
when he was
Me
on
too.
the Knicks, I loved him, man.
Me too.
He made me forget.
He was a
Facts.
dog.
Now he was on the Knicks.
Yeah, and he gave us love after he left. So he gave us
I
love.
see
after
some. I see some people in the chat had said, I think it was Gimme Mine said that they believe Hart, which is a good pick. That's a good one too. Hart.
Hard.
Yes,
Hart's my pick for Boston.
that's a good pick because are you gonna be hesitating? What you gonna do? How Tibbs gonna, try to combat people not guarding him on perimeter?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm definitely doing that. That's a good pick.
Yeah, it was.
All right, yo. I've talked about everything I need to talk about.
Oh, can I bring up one thing that we
Go
did?
ahead.
What's up?
How Detroit is trying to make their own X Factor by the crowd.
Oh yeah.
Oh!
That was actually gonna be one of my draft picks.
Oh, they got the
Well,
bruh.
we did that bro pick on the last post game. But I mean, y'all can do it again. There's more people here. Go ahead. You know what? Brian G. Any bro picks? There you go.
Yes. I had to bring a couple bro picks with me, you know. The first one was the one that Fritz just said with the Pistons, saying that if you don't live within the Midwestern states that they picked out, that you cannot buy tickets to the game, or they're gonna restrict the tickets that you can buy to the game. But it's all right though, because New York is all over. We have mad people in the Midwest anyway, so they're just gonna buy tickets and they're gonna come to the games regardless. Knicks fans are gonna still be there, filling up the arena regardless. It's like, I don't know what they would think, because it's like, what they think New Yorkers are just in New York. We all over. Like, yo, you know how many New Yorkers I ran into in the Midwest? Like, come on now. Like, so that's not gonna stop nothing. Knicks fans gonna still be in Detroit cheering for the team. It's gonna sound like a Knicks home game. We already know the vibes.
Bruh.
So that's the first bro pick, Pistons. My second bro pick goes to the Suns, because I don't know, you have a team of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. It's not a championship team regardless, but come on, 36 and 46 for the season, and then you have Mike Budenholzer as a coach, and you tell me that's the best you can do? To me, that's a broad pick. And then on top of that, the news that was coming out of the team the other day was saying how Mike Budenholzer wanted Bradley Beal to play like Drew Holiday, and Bradley Beal was like, "Don't you ever disrespect me like that, telling me to play like another player." And I'm like, "Come on, man!
That's
like,
funny.
what's going on here?" And then on top of that, like, if you watch Kevin Durant's Twitter, my man is there going back and forth with like almost every Suns fan that tweet him. And it don't matter whether it's positive or negative. My man is going back and forth with all these fans. And I'm like, yo, like the Suns is like it's a crap storm right now. Like, nah, bro, pick right there for the Suns. That whole organization is just wild.
Yo, you know what? Did you see Kevin Durant's reply to the Phoenix journalist?
I did not see that.
I did. He's out of there.
Yeah,
He's out of
the
there.
Phoenix journalist was saying, well, if Kevin Durant leaves this year, I would like to thank him, whatever. And Kevin Durant's reply, it was always nice. You're always nice to me. Actually, like saying goodbye.
Yeah, it was a goodbye.
Yeah. So he was just like, yo, I am out of here.
Yeah, definitely. He's like, deuces. I read that too, Fritz. I'm like, yeah, he done. He didn't say, I see you next season. My man was like, I like your approach to your job. You always ask good questions to me. Like, that's a dude. That's funny. You got more bro picks, right?
I'm trying to think. Do I have any more buckets off the top of my head right now? Because I mean, like, there's like a lot of like basic ones. Because it's like, usual bro picks you give to like Gilbert Arenas. I mean, I get the point he was trying to make, but I was like, my guy said that Chris Paul's not a top 10 passer of all time. I'm just like, yeah,
that's why he just an honorary bro pick. Him and Paul Pierce.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I understand what he was trying to say, but I was like, I don't know if that's a legit like argument though, because I'm like, the dude is like, what is he, like second on the all-time assist list or number 3? He's either one or the other. And then on top of that, I'm like, I've watched Chris Paul play pretty much throughout his whole career, and I've seen him make some crazy passes, and I'm like, to say that he's not a top 10 passer of all time, I'm like, Gilbert Arenas, like, I know you play in the NBA and you know more basketball than me, but I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that take though. I don't know.
He just be saying shit.
Yeah, they be talking.
He just be okay. Hold on. I see you, Phil. I'm just trying. Hold on. My computer is spazzing. So
what happened?
Phil gets in here. I'm trying to.
Yo, Phil's coming?
Yeah,
Are we about to have the first full KOT team? Oh, snap! They're full Avengers! Let's go!
Let's go.
Full Avengers
up,
team
Phil?
What up? Yo, if I'm able to hop on, I'm gonna sneak in right quick and hang out.
Let's go!
Yeah, just in time, because he's about to wrap up. So I should get your thoughts on the situation.
My boy got a fly fit on too.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Before you say anything, Phil, let me just shout out Corey Lee. Shout out Corey Lee because he gave 2 super chats. He says, "Peace, Luke. Can I jump in? You can jump into the Discord. It's not going to be the fan night thing today, but I did put the Discord link pinned to the chat if you want to say something real quick. Shout out to you, Corey Lee. Also, he gave another $2 super chat. Says, give Tibbs. He come have a great game plan. I think he's just backing Tibbs. I think he's just saying he's confident in Tibbs. He's gonna have a great game plan. I hope so, man. I hope so.
For round 1, yeah, he will. He's gonna coach his ass off.
I hope so. I really do. I want to be wrong.
That's serious
I could be
confidence.
wrong too, but trust me, I have a broad pick loaded for Tibbs. If he flops these plays, I have a broad pick loaded for Tibbs, so he better come through.
Facts.
Hell yeah.
Yo, Phil, what's good, my man?
Let's
Chilling,
go.
man, chilling. How you guys doing?
You doing
Better now.
So good.
Yeah, chilling. Ready for Saturday.
Yeah, we ready.
Hell yeah.
We ready.
Yes,
So
sir.
Yeah.
go ahead, man.
I'm
I
excited.
know you've been
I'm
listening throughout this whole show.
Yep.
I don't know if you have any thoughts of anything that we said, but
Yeah.
I'll let you go off.
We'll go in depth on it on Thursday, but for me, and me and Lee were talking about this in our chat. I think the main component of whether or not we can beat the Pistons is not so much based off of our talent, but what decisions we make. Like, if OG Anunoby plays the way that he's been playing in Jalen Brunson's absence, then we can easily take this series. But if it becomes like freaking Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, as in Jalen Brunson and the other guys, then we're done. Like, that's when we become predictable. That's when any team knows how to handle us. And that's the problem with how sometimes Tibbs allows the offense to run, is he says, let the game come to you, as opposed to this is what we're going to do against this team specifically. And I feel like that's the problem, is because I don't care if the game tells Jalen Brunson to shoot it all day long. If that's not what's going to get us the victory, I don't care what he thinks the game is saying to him. We are best when we actually work as a team. I've said it since last year, before we had Cat, before we had McHale. As long as Brunson is our point guard, we can beat anyone if we have 30-plus assists in a game. Because that shows that Jalen Brunson can switch it up, and he can score when he needs to score, but he can dish when he needs to dish. When we have under 30 assists, they know how to guard us. They know what to do. Having a team that has some length in guys like Cade, and having, Jalen Duren, and having the strength of Stewart, they can make it hard for Jalen Brunson to score if they think that only Jalen Brunson's going to score. So for me, OG needs to actually have that confidence to continue to play the way that he's been playing and not feel like he has to take a back seat to Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson, as our captain, needs to actually be speaking those kind of words to the rest of the guys and saying, hey, in my absence, you all stepped up. Don't let me stop that. Like, Jalen needs to not come in and go, I'm back. Now I'm the driver. You guys all ride in the back seat. Like, that's not the way it's got to be. So in order for us to actually win, that needs to happen. Otherwise, we will struggle. Because they have the length and the talent defensively and physicality-wise to make it hard for Jalen Brunson. I know every time Jalen tries to score, he's going to be, going up pretty much against what Jordan did, against the bad boy Pistons. They're going to make it hard on him. They're one of the only teams in the league right now that plays with that kind of physicality. And Jalen's a small guy that they can bully if they need to. So that's my thoughts on it. I think OG needs to step up. OG needs to continue. McHale needs to at least get us 15 a night in order for us to do that. If those two guys can do that, I think we could take it in 5, 6 max. Otherwise, if it's the Jalen Brunson show, I think it goes 7, and we might get upset. So those are my thoughts.
All good points. And something we haven't touched on yet tonight is the assist numbers. We taken a leap last year from this year in the assist game. We averaging 27 assists a game is a good leap from last year. Jalen Brunson, our assist numbers have gone up. So has Josh Hart. So we have the personnel to do it. We just kind of have to execute. You heard me say it a few times. I always felt like once OG went down, we kind of got out of whack on how we shared the ball, because I felt like we was clicking on all cylinders before OG got injured as far as sharing the ball. And when Jalen Brunson came back, we didn't quite get back to what it was when we was averaging almost 30 assists like every single game. And I think this is the opportunity to get back to that with guys like OG and Mikal stepping up recently. So hopefully we take advantage of that. Sure. All right.
Phil, who's your X factor? I'm sorry.
OG.
Fritz,
OG's
I thought you
my
were saying something too. OG?
OG. Like, if OG disappears in this playoffs, I think we struggle. Like, I really do. Because I like Mikal, but Mikal's offense is a little more one-dimensional compared to OG's over the last however many games. OG has learned how to have a diverse package where he can put it on the ground. He can shoot when he's open in the mid. He can shoot from the corner for the three. I feel like he's a lot more unpredictable for defenses than Mikal. I feel like they know that if they double Mikal in the mid-range, that it's going to make it hard for him to score because he's not very strong to the basket. So I feel like OG is that X factor. And if he plays well on both ends of the floor, and anytime he starts doing great on one end of the floor, whether it's offensively or defensively, you see that catapult in the other as well. That he starts doing better. If he's playing great offensively, his defensive prowess becomes crazy. If he's doing great defensively, then he also wants to match that offensively. So I feel like if we get OG to kind of just commit and Brunson empower him in that, I think he's the X factor.
Great point. My bad, Fritz. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I just wanted to comment like on an earlier point that Phil had. We know Detroit's going to come in and try to assert their dominance. We know they're going to try to push people around. Isaiah Stewart, that's his job.
Yep.
Like they're going to assert John. Tibbs. There's one thing I want Tibbs in the series. Don't just challenge the calls. Tibbs, Cat isn't getting the calls. At some point, it may become necessary that you get a technical. Like, if Cat's not getting the call, you have to stick up for your players, because the only time that the league does anything is when you get a technical and when you start to pay out that money. So if you get that technical and you make noise that they aren't calling the calls, they'll adjust in the next game. The officials adjust.
They're gonna send that tape like they did last year. Here's 25 minutes of fouls not called on Karl Anthony Towns. They definitely was playing that game last year. They will do that this year. Trust me.
And I'll say one thing. I think Tibbs needs to find, just for the sake of balancing that Isaiah Stewart, I think we need to find a few minutes of PJ Tucker on the court. You saw where PJ actually stepped up when they stood over, our guy the other night, and then he knocked him down, a few plays later, and PJ Tucker stood over their guy and was like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, I don't think we have anybody but PJ Tucker that will match that, like, arrogance and, like, bully behavior like PJ Tucker would. So I think even if we're in a game where it looks like we blew them out, or even they ended up beating us and we're like, oh, whatever, like, allow PJ to get a few of those moments in and just be like, if you guys are going to play that way, just know that we can also. You want to knock somebody to the ground? Here, we'll knock somebody to the ground and we'll hit them even harder. So I think something like that. I think Tibbs needs to play the mind game with them as well, and not just the basketball game, because these guys like to get in your head. That's what these guys like to do. Like, if they start to lose a game, they start to up, the physicality and try to bully their way into a victory. I think we need to be able to battle back with that as well.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson will definitely respond. And he says it a lot. Like, when Jalen Brunson gets pissed, it's another level. Super Saiyan Blue, and Instinct. It's bully mode. He goes nuts. You can't stop the man. He goes berserk. So I just need everybody else to follow his lead when he gets there. Like if let somebody push Jalen Brunson to the floor during the playoffs and see how he gets activated. We already saw what happened when Embiid did it. Let's see somebody do that to Jalen Brunson. Actually, I want somebody to do that to Jalen Brunson. I want to see that because the moment that happens, you're in trouble. Don't poke the bear.
They poked the bear already. Calling him too small. Jalen Duran again. That dunk. That's all poking the bear. I laughed when they did it. I said, "Thank you, appreciate you."
Yeah,
because it just add more fuel to the fire.
Yeah,
You don't
talk about him. Talk about his mama. Talk about him.
Whatever we gonna add
Get him
more
pissed.
fuel to the fire. So you could do this now at the end of this meaningless game, but you just set a fire under people. I know they set a fire under me, and I ain't even play, so I'm not playing. I know it got to be like, yeah, let's get it. I'ma show this.
Facts. Okay.
I just need
Shout out to the Magic. Shout out to the Magic.
Oh yeah, they just beat the Atlanta
Taking out the Hawks.
Sorry.
I don't know who it was, but I see somebody in the chat say that they believe that the Orlando Magic could beat Boston.
Oh, the Hawks got spanked.
Yeah, I mean they missing players and Magic were good. I expected them to get spanked.
I think the Magic defense, just like Detroit, so they can make it ugly. You know, they always have a shot because they play defense like they do,
right?
And they got Banchero. So
I heard you. All right. So I thought we was gonna close. Before we close, we got somebody on Discord. We got our guy JT Riddick, aka the trainer in my head. Shout out to you. We're gonna bring him in real quick. Okay, yo, JT, you are live on the KOT show. What's up, my guy?
Testing. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Damn, it's been a while since I did that.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Salute. I had to call in for the All-Star team. I know, we're about to close out, so I just want to say Knicks in 5. And welcome back, Ryan. Salute, Ebony. Salute, Phil. Salute, Fritz. Salute, Lee. Salute, Jay. So I ain't scared. I ain't ducking no smoke. I think Knicks Nation ain't ducking no smoke. So, I just want to know how y'all feeling, because I'm feeling excited. I know, we down, but I think, like Ebony said, we gonna respond. JB, they poked the bear. They've been hearing all the noise. They know everything that's going on. So I think that they're gonna be locked in.
I agree. I definitely agree, man. They gonna be locked in. All this talk about Shaq, yeah, they're the best team and they're gonna beat the Knicks. All that's gonna be put to rest. We don't take it.
Definitely agree. I would say though, I feel like an X factor is definitely Mitch, because we are most effective when we are rebounding and when we have ball movement. So if we have both of those things going, ain't nobody stopping us.
Hell yeah. Never trade Mitch.
Yes. However, that's my time because I got to go. But I had to call in with everybody on the show. Y'all take it easy. I'll call in the next show after the first playoff game. And on that note, I'm out. Yeah.
That's my guy JT. I haven't heard his ear in mad long, man. Been twin. All right.
Twin. I'm about to start singing.
Wait, when we all sign off, let's say how many games we think the Knicks will win and how many games.
Oh, you read my mind, Lee. You read my mind. I was about to close with that.
Okay.
So go ahead. Go ahead. What start with you, Lee?
Find me on Twitter at _ Escobedo, LeeEscobedo. I got Knicks in 5. I think this is Tom Thibodeau's best coaching performance, even better against the Cleveland series. I think he really balls the hell out, makes the right adjustments, has the right rotation, and neutralizes their strengths and maximizes ours. I think Mitch has a fantastic series. I think we beat them handily. Maybe one close game. I think we blow them out once or twice. Knicks in 5.
Take that. Ryan G in the building.
Yes, sir. So Twitter handle Ryan G KOT. Instagram Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILIN. I haven't done that in mad long.
Reflex.
But yes, I do think, Pistons are young, hungry. They're going to have a bit of confidence going into this series based on how they play us in the regular season. So I think because of that, they're going to give us a bit of trouble, but I think the Knicks are going to win in 6.
Facts. Hold on. Phil, if y'all don't know, y'all liking the fire takes, y'all liking what he's saying. Thursday, Phil, leader, Knicks nightcap. Be here, be square. Check in. So when you see the graphics as Knick nightcap, go ahead. Give him a look out. I promise you, they're gonna have some good basketball talk. That's why he's on there.
Hell yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Follow me at Phil_all_caps. And like JL said, Thursday night we'll be on at 8 p.m. Me, my guy Apollo, me, my guy Eru. We'll be talking about playoffs, what we saw at the end of the season, what we're expecting to see. Me personally, I think it's Knicks in 6. And the reason I think that is because I still think that when you have so many cooks in the kitchen, it's going to take a little bit of time for people to realize who brings what ingredients. And so I think that first round is going to be a little bit of a learning experience for us. The guys are going to have to realize and learn what Tibbs's rotations will actually be. I know we can all speculate, but there's so much uncertainty when it comes to Tibbs and who he's going to play, who he's not. So I think the first round is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for us. But if everybody steps up and is willing to make it about each other, then we take the victory for sure. I think the only way we lose this series and the only way we lose the second round is if it becomes a selfish basketball play. Like if any of these guys become super selfish and want to show out and prove themselves because, you got Jalen, people think he didn't deserve the bag or this, that, and whatever, or that, like people said last year, he's too small, he's too this. If he comes in, tries to overperform, we can take an L. Karl Anthony Towns trying to prove that he doesn't disappear in the playoffs, and now he tries to overperform, takes a L, so that's the only reason I think that we would ever beat these teams. I think based off talent alone, we should be able to cruise through the first and second round. I think the only way we lose those rounds is ourselves. We beat ourselves and we make a shame of ourselves as the Knicks, which would be even more disappointing for Knicks fans because we know we have the potential to beat these teams.
Okay. Shout out to my guy, Phil. I like that analogy. I like those analogies, Phil. All right. What's going on? Mad Knicks fan.
Y'all know me. Knicks in 4.
Oh, yeah. Say what you said. Say what you
Y'all know me. Knicks in 4. What was it? Was it how Shea the Shop do it? What they call those the shades? Huffs, right? Was it the shades they wear? Huffs? That's what they call them, or cuffs, something like that. Oh, okay. I can't. But yeah, Knicks in 4. Buffs it might be. Knicks in 4. I think Detroit is super a good team. They're gonna make it ugly. But I feel like if we just lock in and focus, we have too many pieces. We have way too many pieces, is what I really believe. I think Mitch is going to make the difference. The last game they beat us by about 20 points and points in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening again. By 20, by that amount again. I don't know. I think we have too much. I think we have too much experience. I think we just have too much pieces. I think we have a lot. And their youth is going to youth in Madison Square Garden. I think will have a crazy factor in this game.
All right.
In this series rather.
Okay.
Yeah, just we got to be unpredictable. Just not going back to what we comfortable with, but what is working. There you go. Just reading the game. That's all I need them to do. That's it. Read the game, make the right read. Don't overcomplicate stuff. But yeah, I wanted Detroit. I like this as a first round because again of their physicality and their defense. If you want a first round, this is what you want. Iron sharpens iron. Like we get through a physical team, and then we gotta go through finesse Boston. Well, that'll help us out in that series, I believe. I'm not overlooking Detroit just yet, but Knicks in 4.
Okay. Our guy Fritz, aka NBA Economy. If you want another basketball channel to check out, definitely check out NBA Economy. He breaks down economics, the NBA.
Yep. So Fritz handles on Twitter. Yeah, just really excited about the playoffs. We're finally at a point where we don't simply have to say we may make noise in the playoffs. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be at the top. We have the best players. We just have to play our game and play to our potential, and we will be fine. So just looking forward to that, and I will see y'all guys on Saturday.
That's what's up. All right.
Can I ask a question real quick? I'm sorry. I just want to ask Sherwin, what would you like us to say? I feel that we're being objective because we're not saying we think the Knicks gonna lose. Like, what would you like us to say, Sherwin? Like, what do you want us to say? Knicks never. What do you want?
Sherwin's not happy unless we're all miserable.
Yeah,
I know that.
Like,
I love Sherwin. That's my guy.
Don't take it personal.
Sherwin loves
I'm not taking it. I'm asking him. Sherwin, what would you like us to say? We done gave Detroit their flowers. We said that they're good defensive, good rebound. We got I believe we got a better team. That's it. That's what and the stats say that we got a better team too, because we're number 3 and they're not. So I don't know what you want us to say, Sherwin.
I agree, Em. I agree.
Oh man, I don't take it. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal.
I like messing with the chat. Let them know I see you.
I feel you. Prezi, I can't wait either. Hopefully we get some. All right. I'm Knicks in 5.
Let's go, Jay.
I'm Knicks in 5. Like,
let's go.
I know, like, home court advantage in the playoffs is a big deal to me. I know they beat us at home, but home court advantage in the playoffs in Madison Square Garden, where the crowd is rocking, the energy is different, the air is thin and tight, it's a different animal. I know they did well in the regular season. They tripled up their win score. The playoffs are a different beast. We've mentioned it a few times. They got Tobias Harris, they got Tim Hardaway Jr., they have all these guys who historically has not showed up in the playoffs. Somebody's going to have to show up with Cade. So who out of these guys who have not historically played well in the playoffs are going to show up with Cade? I think the pressure is going to take a lot. I think it's going to take a minute for them to adjust to the pressure. And I think we're going to definitely win the first few games at home. They might still win at their home, but we're going to finish it off. I'm going Knicks in 5. That's how I see it. Because we've been here before. And
yeah,
Jalen Brunson has been here before. If the game gets close, I got Brunson. That's it. I got one of the best, Mr. Clutch, who's going to win Clutch Player of the Year in the NBA. I got Brunson. So that's where I'm at with it. All right.
Special shout out to Fritz for not only being part of the panel, but also managing the chat at the same damn time.
Because that's why he's the best mod in the game.
My main man, Fritz, man.
Multitasking.
How many mods is going to be in the chat while commentating, while posting on Twitter, while posting on LinkedIn, while putting stuff on stuff? Who else? My bad, I got
only Fritz, man.
Fritz is my guy.
My God.
Fritz, the cap guy. As soon as I got a cap question, I'm like, Fritz?
Who's mine is a cap guy? How about that?
I'm like, Fritz, I believe if you say it, I know it's true. I'm like, Fritz, can we do it?
Exactly. We need to hashtag that. Hashtag Fritz, can we do it? All right.
Yep. that needs to be a new KO t-shirt.
That needs to be a segment. Fritz, can we do it? Hold
can
on,
we do it?
Yo, trade season coming. Now it's time for Fritz. Can we do it? Yeah, we doing that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how you Chris Carey
Yeah,
said it coming soon. All right,
there's definitely time for that.
You on your face,
Definitely got
smiling
time
like
for
that. Yeah.
But right now it's winning time. We gonna worry about that when
Let's go.
It is
season's
time.
Exactly.
Bill, man,
Mr.
thank you for
Sherman
joining
said
us,
that we
bro.
gotta watch. We don't have anybody to match up with the backcourt of Detroit. That was what was said.
We don't have anybody to match with the
backcourt of Detroit. Yeah,
That's crazy, man. Tim Hardaway Jr. is that good? Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay. All right.
He said, yeah.
All right.
Damn, man.
That's what he
news
thinks.
to me.
That's
News to me.
We gonna see. We shall see.
We
shall see. See, playoffs is where I become a believer of players or non-believers, either or.
I remember Tim Hardaway Jr. getting benched in the playoffs last season. I'm just all right.
Yeah, before we go real quick, bruh pick, because I didn't get to go. I'm gonna go fast. So real quick, Randall for saying that this the first time he ever got to play for something or something of that sort.
For
that was crazy.
real.
That was crazy.
Bruh.
Yes, I'll give you the whole quote right now. This is one of the few times, probably really the only time in my whole career I feel like I have a chance to really play for something. That means that baby never believed in our team and that we wasn't ever going nowhere with him. That's what that means.
Yeah.
That's
straight up said
interesting.
It's the first time he's been able to compete for something in his career that mattered.
Wow.
That's bitter X stuff.
It's bitter X, but come on.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when Aha told us that he didn't leave for the money. Yes, you did. You left for the money. Just say you left for the money.
That's bitter X stuff. That's like,
wow.
Sorry to get graphic here. That's like when the girl leaves. She's like, "And you had a small penis." It's like, no, it's like, you was here for 10 years.
That was crazy. I just seen that. I wasn't expecting that.
Is this like your confessions episode, bro?
That's not my confessions. That is not my.
Yo, hey, that never happened to me. That never happened to me, bro. I cannot
say it happened to me, bro. Wait a minute.
He said that's how Randall acted.
Wait a minute.
Ryan, unload the clip.
Oh man. All I have to say to Randall is good luck against LeBron and Luka. That's all I gotta say. Good luck. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it.
Yo, Randall being the girlfriend who says you have a small penis but he's a girlfriend he never put out. He never showed up and was available. Like, bro, what happened, man? We never even had sex. What are you talking about?
Yo.
Civil rights numbers for a reason.
Oh my god!
Listen, I'm offended. I saw how many pods I spent defending the guy, and he goes around and says that. Damn, man, pisses me off, man.
I left Randall alone. I haven't
That's a
spoken
bum
about
ass
the guy.
shit, man.
Yeah,
I haven't spoken about him like at all, really. In any negative light.
Wild.
Yeah,
And
that's like when the
whoa.
dude tried to hit the girl at the bus stop and she says no, and he's like, well, you ugly anyway.
You ugly anyway.
Oh,
but
Randall,
that's
man.
that
You
one.
killed me,
He's
bro.
wild for that one. Definitely wild for saying that. And was it Denver's president basically said what did he say? That maybe he should have waited to the end of the season to do what he did
Really?
with Mike Malone?
Wow.
That basically what I read, right?
Oh boy.
No,
Or maybe I moved a little bit too fast.
You think? You think you should have waited to the end of the season to fire your coach? You think? 1 week before the playoffs, you fire. I'm not giving him a bro pick for firing their coach a week before the playoffs, but there's another one. That was the stupidest thing I ever seen in my life. That was so dumb. Like, if I'm Jokic, I'm side-eyeing management right now and going, all right, so trade destinations. What do you think about?
Fat.
Because
That's
what
serious.
type of emotional ass decision was that? That was crazy.
But they
For
did
real.
say Mike Malone didn't go quiet. They say he ain't go
He
quiet.
from
I
New
don't
York.
know.
You know he not.
What the hell?
he didn't go quiet.
And the last one is the media like gaslighting us. The media all season, even last week, saying how we weren't going to beat nobody. We didn't have a chance. We didn't have nothing. Then you look on all the ESPN and say Knicks in 6, Knicks in 5. Which one is it going to be? Like, stop playing the games.
Called engagement farming.
Knicks would click, but then now you got the Detroit fans talking about that we're fake what they say, we're fake underdogs. We're still in their underdog story. We ain't still in it. They keep giving it to us. They keep talking about we ain't gonna beat nobody.
Every year.
But all the ESPN analysts, 10 out of 10, chose Knicks over Pistons, which kind of shocked me that every single one of them chose the Knicks. Most of them chose in under 6 games. So I think we're starting to at least proving our mettle, at least in the first round, finally.
Yeah, it's going to change against Boston.
For sure.
Yeah, so
it's going to change on this panel, too.
Are ESPN analysts homers or not? I'm just saying. All right,
but, wait, now I want one more because I didn't do my bro pick. Speaking of people saying things out their ass, did y'all see what Isaiah Thomas said about, yes, our Isaiah, not little Isaiah, said about LeBron James when he was shooting warmups with no shirt on and a do-rag? He was like, if I managed that team, there's no way in hell he would be out there with no shirt on and a do-rag. And I thought to myself, as a Knicks fan, if you managed the team, you would have a 56-108 record. Poverty, laughing stock of the NBA, fans wearing paper bags over their faces, and a lawsuit for sexual harassment. What are you talking about?
Bruh.
Under your management, you gotta be.
He let Marbury do whatever he wanted.
That is unbelievable. He had
wasn't Marbury eating Vaseline or something at the time?
Marbury was running the organization.
That's my guy though.
Brown was running the organization, but that's not.
It's like, to me, it's like Isaiah would have had a point if it was like shoot around right before the game and the stands were filled and things of that nature. Then I'm like, all right, and he comes out shirtless shooting in a do-rag. Then I'm like, all right, you might have a point there, but I'm like, the stadium is empty. It's like hours before the game. He's literally the only one on the court shooting shots. So it's like, what's the big deal? Like, nobody else is there. It's just him shooting shots.
Man can't work on his waves in peace. That's crazy. All right.
And this man, Isaiah Thomas, was choking folk and all kinds of stuff on the court. Like,
there are some players who can say that when they were GMs. Isaiah is not one of them. He is not someone who can criticize how someone runs a team. He's the worst example.
Yeah.
Bruh.
All right.
Don't throw glass. Don't throw rocks if you living in a glass house.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we went off the rails for a bit, but I'm sure you guys enjoyed.
We're back.
Views went up, so I think y'all did. All right, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching. We are going to see you, Phil. Well, you're going to see Phil on Thursday for the Knicks Nightcap, so definitely check Phil out. You guys already did the show. I'm pretty sure you did. And we'll be back Saturday. Game 1. NBA playoffs. Knicks Pistons. Be here. Be square. All right? All right. So that's it.
Getting weird.
You already know what it is. The deal is that's the show. We out of here. And as always,
shout out the worldwide west. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube streets. That's the show. We out this mug.
Peace.
Ryan G saying peace. I miss it.
New York, big city of dreams.